Okay, back. Sorry about that. Ember CLI has finished installing, so we can now create a new app just like we wanted to. So we're just going to follow along in this tutorial that was in guides and tutorial, and we're on creating a new app. And so we haven't done anything yet. We just installed Ember CLI, and we went over kind of like a very brief little bit of what we want to do. So that's where we're at here. So let's go ahead and create our app, and that's going to do a lot of stuff, and who knows, it might take a while too. So let's do Ember new, and we're going to call this, we're not going to call it Super Rentals, we're going to call it Morty Deck. So Ember new Morty Deck. Of course it already exists, because I tried to do this earlier and everything broke. So let's do that, and then, alright, this time, Ember new Morty Deck. I promise this one's going to work. Feeling really good about it. So this is going to take a few seconds too, but we can start reading ahead here. The new command generates a project structure with the following files and directories. It's got an app folder, which is mostly what we're going to be working in. Sometimes config, we'll have to test stuff in, and sometimes we'll put stuff in public. But it's got Bower components, it's got a dist folder, node modules, tests, temp, vendor, and then some files here that we can change, and one that we probably don't want to. So let's take a look at the folders and files and see what it generates. The app, this is where the folders and files for models, components, roots, templates, and styles are stored. The majority of your coding on an Ember project happens in this folder. That is true. Bower is a dependency management tool. It is used for CLI to manage front-end plugins and component dependencies. All Bower components are installed in the Bower components directory. If we open Bower.json, we see the list of dependencies that are installed automatically, including Ember, jQuery, Ember Data, and QUnit. And if we wanted to, we could install this stuff in there too. Let's say we wanted to bring in Bootstrap or something like that. We could do Bower, install Bootstrap, and that will bring it in for us to use as well. Oh, see, I wasn't even reading that. That was just me off the top of my head. If we add additional front-end dependencies such as Bootstrap, we will see them listed here and added to the Bower components directory. Cool. Config. The config directory contains the environment.js where you can configure settings for your app. And that's like if we wanted to run in dev versus test versus production, etc. The dist folder is when we build our app for deployment. The output files will be created here. And that's actually the last step in this tutorial is deploying, which we will do. And basically we just push everything in the dist file, we just upload it. Whether you have like shared hosting or whatever it is. So the node modules and package.json is the directory from npm. npm is the package manager for Node.js. Ember is built with Node and uses a variety of Node.js modules for operation. The package.json file maintains the list of current npm dependencies for the app. Any Ember CLI add-ons you install will show up here. And we can go through some Ember CLI add-ons later when we install Mirage. Packages listed in the package.json file are installed in the node modules directory. So we could, if we wanted to include something, we could include it in the package.json file, then run npm install, and then it will be installed in the node modules directory. Public is where we can put like images and stuff. Vendor is where the front-end dependencies that are not managed by Bower go. So if we didn't want to Bower install Bootstrap, we could go to getbootstrap.com. We could go to getbootstrap.com and we could put it in the vendor folder, and then we could use that. That's public for us as well. So tests/testum. These are automated tests for our app. And Ember CLI's test runner. And that's something that we might touch on later as well. The temp folder is just where temporary folders exist. That's not really going to concern us ever. And Ember CLI build.js describes how Ember CLI should build our app. We're not going to touch that either, I don't think. So let's see. It is still installing, so we'll just keep moving on. So if you look at the app/router.js, which we don't need to do at the moment because it's right here, And notice some syntax that may be unfamiliar to you. Long story short, Ember CLI uses ECMAScript 2015 or ES 2015. It was previously known as ES6. It's basically a bunch of helpful stuff that's probably coming in the future of JavaScript, and it uses Babel to basically transpile it. Actually, I'm not sure if it uses Babel, but I'm assuming it does. For example, on import Ember from Ember gives us access to the actual Ember.js library as the variable Ember, and the import config from config/environment line gives us access to our app's configuration data as the variable config. Const is a way to declare a read-only variable as to make sure it is not accidentally reassigned elsewhere. At the end of the file, export default router makes the router variable defined in this file available to other parts of the app. So we could import router from router or whatever it might be. In this case, I think it's app/router. But anyway, we are, for continuing the tutorial, make sure that you have the most recent version of Ember installed. If the versions of Ember and Ember data in Bower.json are lower than the version number in the upper left-hand corner of these guides, update the version numbers in Bower.json and then run Bower install. But considering that we literally just installed Ember CLI, I think we're going to be okay. At least I certainly hope so. We're on 2.5, and I know for a fact that it just installed 2.5. And once this is done, and it's done, we can test that. So I'm going to change directories, and I'm going to go into Morty Deck, and I'm going to clear this out. And let's do. I guess we can just do Ember help if we needed to, and that'll give us a big list of all the things we could possibly do with Ember's command line interface. So that's very helpful. But all we want to do is we just want to check the Ember version. We want to make sure that it's good. And it is. We're on 2.5.0, just like that guy right there. Cool. So everything's in place. The last thing we got to do is, now that we've installed everything, is just type Ember S, and that's going to start a server. And we're going to navigate to localhost 4200. And that's where we're going to be able to see our app. So you type Ember S, and it is going to go ahead and spin up a dev server for us to be able to view these files on. And the cool thing too is every time we save something, we will be able to see it auto reload. So we're just going to get a nice little very plain welcome message that says, a second here. There we go. Welcome to Ember. All right, cool. So we are now ready to go ahead and follow along with this tutorial. The first thing that we're going to do is talk about routes and templates. So to demonstrate the basic setup and processing of an Ember application, this list will walk through building an Ember app for a property rental site called Super Rentals, except we're going to make a Rick and Morty Pocket Morty site called Morty Deck. It will start with a home page, an about page, and a contact page. All right, we can make those too. Let's take a look at the application from a user perspective before we get started. So we've got welcome to Super Rentals. Well, ours isn't going to say that. Ours is going to say welcome to Morty Deck. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up real quick. Morty Deck, and here we go. Awesome. So it's going to say, let's make a like an instructions.txt. Oops. Did I go into the wrong? Oh, so I had a previous version of that. So let's just go to dev/Morty Deck. Let's open that up. My mistake. There we go. Now we got our Morty Deck here. Let's close out of that one. Let's close out of that one. Don't save any of that. Nope, I closed out of the wrong one. Here we go. I promise. Now we're doing well. Okay, cool. So let's make an instructions.txt file. And we're going to kind of Oh, I see what I did. There we go. So now we're in the right folders. Okay, so let's kind of map out what we want to have here. We want to say, welcome to Morty Deck. Welcome to your Morty Deck. How about that, huh? Welcome to your Morty Deck. Explore all the Mortys. We should probably say Mortys that exist in all the universes, because there's a lot of them in the Rick and Morty world. I'm not going to get all weird. And so let's we basically, here's what we want to do. We want to say we've got here's a listing of Mortys, listing or we can say like all Mortys. Let's do that. All Mortys, and then we'll have like a little thing that says, and this is going to go back to our stuff. So we've just got regular Morty here. So we've got Morty, and then we've got Scruffy Morty, and then the third one is Unkempt Morty, and that's all we want to do for now. That's the home page, or at least that's what we want to build. And then below that, we want to have like an about us and like a contact page. And then so we'll have like a link right here that says about us, and then contact us, right? So that's basically what we want our front page to look like. Really, really simple. So we did this. We created our new Ember app. We have that open. Before we start building the 3 pages for our app, we're going to clear out the contents of app/templates/application.hbs and only leave the outlet code in place. So let's go do that first. We're going to go into app, we're going to go into app, templates, application.hbs, and we're going to get rid of our welcome to Ember because we don't need it. We'll talk more about application.hbs later, yada yada yada. So let's start building our about page. So we want people to visit /about, and then that will send people to, it's going to do a bunch of stuff, a bunch of different files. The router will map the URL to the route handler of the same name, about.js. The route handler then loads a template. So URL hits, goes to the route handler through the router, and then the route handler loads a template, and then we get to see HTML. So we can do this if we run Ember help generate. We can see a variety of tools that come with Ember for automatically generating files and various Ember resources. But let's just go ahead and generate something. So we're going to generate a root that says about. So we're going to come back into, I'll open a new terminal window here. And before we do this, why don't we talk about GitHub too? Because we've got some stuff here, and you know what? I actually have, and this was, I guess, my fault earlier, but I had I had already created a repo, and I did some work on it. And you know what? I want to do this fresh. So why don't we take this is the old Morty deck. We can call, you know what? Let's just delete this. Let's just get rid of it, because I want this all on one really cool, really great thing. So let's just do it. Just get rid of it. We are permanently deleting Morty Deck. Goodbye. I don't need it. And now let's do a new one. New repo. Cool. What should we call it? I don't know. Maybe Morty Deck. Hey, what do you know? We've already got it. Shocking. We don't need to give this a description. It can be public. Everyone can see it. We don't need a README because we already have a repo. So we can create a new repository from the command line. Nope, don't need to, because we've got our Git repository that Ember automatically initializes for us. So if we do git remote right now, we got nothing. There's nothing set up. So we're going to add an origin, which is this. And now if we type git remote, we see that we've got our origin here for fetching and pushing. That's fantastic, because now we can do git push. origin master. And what do you know? It is going to send all of that information, not the modified stuff yet, but all of that information up to our GitHub repo. And so if we refresh this, look what happens. Boom, 14 minutes ago we did all this stuff. How exciting. But there's some other stuff too. If we type git status, remember we made an instructions.txt file, which is largely useless, but we can edit. And then we also, we also added that application.handlebars file. We removed the welcome to Ember. So we can git add everything, or if we wanted, we can do git add app templates / application, and then also instructions. So let's add those two. And so we could say git commit, and we'll add a message, and we'll say removed welcome to Ember, created an instructions file. And then we can git push origin master. And that's saying where we're pushing to, and it's saying which branch we're pushing. And we're on branch master, and we will change that in a sec. Cool, so that's done. So if we refresh this now, it's going to say maybe 30 seconds ago that we changed a couple things. 22 seconds ago, we removed welcome to Ember and created an instructions file, and the files that were changed were this one and in here. Wonderful. Okay, so we're going to generate an about root, but first, why don't we create a new branch here, so that way, if for some reason we mess everything up, we can just go back to the master and not worry about it. So let's do git branch. Actually, let's do git checkout -b for new branch, and we're going to do about root. So now you can see we're on the about root here. So we're going to go ahead and generate this root. Ember generate root about. Wonderful. And so that did a couple things. It generated a couple files for us, and then it also edited the router, and then it installed a test file. So 3 new files were created, and the 4th is touched in the router. Okay, when we open the router, we see that the generator has mapped a new about root for us. This root will load the about root handler. So let's go to app/router.js. App, router, here we go. So this wasn't here previously, and kind of a fun fact here, if we go git checkout master, and we reload this, our branch is up to date. Okay. Well, whatever. Oh, I hadn't committed anything, so that makes sense. So if we look, we can add all this stuff, and we can say add about route. So now, if we switch back to master, git co, which is short for checkout. For me, I have an alias, git co master. It's no longer there. And then if we switch back, git co about route, it's there again. Crazy. Okay. So by default, the about route handlers loads the about.hbs template. This means we don't actually have to change anything in the new app/route/about.js file for the about.handlebars template to render as we want. With all of the routing in place from the generator, we can get right to work on coding our template. For our about page, we'll add some HTML that has a bit of information about the site. So we can go right into this page, and we can remove that outlet in there. App templates about the handlebars, app templates about. So we don't need that, but we can say about Morty Deck. And then we can say this is the coolest place to see information about all the Mortys in all universes. Cool. So now if we head back here, there's nothing really on here, right? But if we go to about, what do you know? Everything that we just did. Really, really basic stuff. And that's exactly what we said. So run number serve, go to localhost / about. That's what we did. So that all worked. So we made a couple changes. We just changed the about HTML, so we can add that, and then we can commit it. And we'll say added, say add about page information. Cool. And so then one last thing we're going to do is we're going to switch back to master. And everything looked good, so we are going to git merge about root and then git push. And lo and behold, just like before, we have a super cool new about page in our repository. So we can look at our branches, and if we wanted to, we can git branch -d for delete, and we can delete that about root. And now if we go back to git branch, just master. Okay, so we're going to git checkout, and we're going to do contact root this time. Swell. So we're going to Ember generate root contact. And that's done. And we're going to do the same thing we did before. We're just going to go back to that that app /template /contact, and we are going to edit this. We can remove that, and we can say contact us, and we can say the best way to contact us is actually, you know what? Don't contact us because we have absolutely nothing to say to you. Fantastic. So now we say, if we go back to that and we go to our contact root, it's the same thing. What do you know? And it looks especially pretty, just this black and white no CSS at all page. But the point of this is that there is a helper called link to, which manages it's like an anchor tag, except you just have to put in the root, and it'll work like that. So so we can add this link to, right? We can do that in our about page if we wanted. So we can do link to contact, and we can say contact us, and then we can do the same thing, and we can end the link to, right? Cool. So we want to save that, and then we can add it on to our contact page too, except we're going to say about, and we can just replace that and say about us. And so now we've got a contact page with an about us link and an about us page with a contact link, and we can just keep going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Notice how fast it is, notice how snappy everything is. Super cool. We are beginning to do something. It's not crazy exciting just yet, but that's okay. So now we can go ahead, and this is obviously a little tedious and a little trivial, but we can add everything in here, and we can commit, add a contact root, and links to and from the About page. Wonderful. And we can git checkout to master and then git merge our contact root. And then finally git push that bad boy up to GitHub. And my dog is starting to whine. So we are going to make sure that's done. And it is 26 seconds ago. And I'm going to go take him outside. So I will take a quick break.